Hello viewers, welcome to our TV program Faith and Astrology once again. We couldn't do new programs since July because I was in Germany and tried to bring my car back from Germany, and I was there and I tried to solve some problems, some bureaucratical problems. Then I finally finished and I could come back to Turkey back again. And here I am, and I'm going to give you wonderful sky messages over Islamic astrology, faith and astrology. Please listen to me very carefully because I will give you important information about retro of Mars. Mars started retro movement on the 10th of September. And this is going to be in this position, retro position, till 14th of November. And during this period, Mars retro is going to bring some challenges in our relations. According to birth chart, where there is Mars retro, that position is going to give you some messages about that. So today's program, I will give you information about the Mars retro according to astrological signs, starting from Aries till Pisces. This retro is going to. This retro started in September, on the 10th of September till 14th of November. What is the message for the horoscope? Also, another important point in October. On the 2nd of October, there is going to be a full moon in Aries too. It is interesting. It is going to be blue full moon because there are going to be two full moons in 1 month. At the end of the October, there is going to be another full moon again in Aries. But first full moon is going to be at the beginning of October. Another one is at the end of October. Of course, this is not occurring frequently. And what is the message of full moons in Aries and Mars retro messages? And then we are going to read this message together. Let's start together with Aries. But before we starting, I want to give you information about the Saturn movement and Jupiter. Jupiter entered, as you know, Capricorn and started bringing good messages to Capricorn. But unfortunately, Saturn was in Capricorn also a little bit. It touched to Aquarius, and it started COVID in everywhere during the time of touching Aquarius, because Aquarius was the Aquarius is the star sign of technology and also coming together, being together. It is the 11th house and doing something together in organizations. But when Saturn touched the Aquarius, around of Kaaba, the turning stopped, and also people couldn't go to mosques. That period, and now it came back again to Capricorn again, with the retro position. So the people in the world in the summertime, during the summertime, they took a deep breath. I mean, it's not like winter, but the summertime was better. But I'm afraid to give this message to you. The Saturn is going to go back to Aquarius again. And that period, during the winter time this year, end of this year, the COVID is going to affect some countries once again. So I kindly request you to be careful against COVID. because, you know, first tedbir in Arabic, tedbir means caution, being careful is important. Later tawakkul is expecting from something from the Lord. So we have to be careful first, then expect. Tawakkul is later. So this is basic Islamic rule according to Sunnatullah. Sunnatullah means, as you know, the rules of Allah, the God in the universe. You can't change Sunnatullah. You know, the water, that Sunnatullah means, you know, the water is going to be frozen 0 degrees Celsius, and it is going to be boiled. It boils at 100 degrees Celsius normally. You can't change it. The water, please be frozen at 5 degrees Celsius. You can't do it, because this is the rule. This is the Sunnatullah. And so we have to be careful of the scientific Sunnatullah principles. So please stay a little bit, stay away from each other, and please be careful in the society using masks. Really, this is going to protect not only ourselves, also the other people. This is important point, really. Okay, let's start with the full moons and the retro. What is the message? So of course this full moon event will be in Aries, and also Mars retro will be in Aries too, and so the Aries people at the top these days, especially in October until 14th of November. So I recommend Aries people, the Aries, to be careful while making plans. Algorithm is very important to do what is first, what is second. So this algorithm, as you know, comes from Quran. So this system is used today on computer programming. It comes from Al-Khwarizmi. Al-Khwarizmi is a scientist, Muslim scientist. He discovered algorithm. Today, computer technology is using, especially programming. And so we have to use this, especially Aries these days. They have to plan first, then they should act. This is very important point for the Aries, really. And I recommend the Aries people to recite the name Ya Halim was Sabur. Ya Halim, what is the meaning of Halim? Al-Halim means the soft God. Soft means tolerated God, because he's tolerating. He's not punishing immediately. So he has patience also. As Sabr comes, as Sabr means the God who has patience. Al-Halim means the God who has got soft heart, kind heart. So these calling the gods, especially with these names, are going to be very important, especially the morning hour before the sunrise on Tuesdays. This is only this recite, this zikr is important for Aries in the morning before the sunrise. What about Taurus? Taurus is going to be affected from these moments. The full moons is going to be the full moons are going to be a message for Taurus on spiritual situation. They may have some enemies, and their enemies can act these days. So they have to be careful against their enemies, really. Taurus should be careful about the enemies, and their spiritual position, spiritual situation is important. So I recommend Taurus to recite the name of God. Ya Halim ve Sabur is important. Also they can recite Ya Basit vel Fettah, all at the same time, especially after the sunrise on Tuesdays. That is going to be great for them. And what about Gemini? Gemini will feel these planet movements, events, on their friendship side and organizations as well. So Gemini, I recommend them to be careful while organizing something, and they should be careful about friends' relations while they're speaking to their friends, some specific things and some vulnerable things. They should be very careful. They should think first, then later they can speak. That is going to be better for them. So the Gemini recite the name of the Lord, especially in between 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock in the morning time. That is Kuşluk time in Turkish, and that time is when the brain is very efficient. So that is why the morning hour is important for the students. Long time ago, Turkish students especially studied on morning time. They were much more successful than the students who studied in the afternoon, because the brain is very fresh at that time in the morning hour. Okay, and when we look at Cancer, they should be careful about their career. I know some of them, they want to have new position, new job. Maybe they want to change their career in different area. But I don't recommend to do this really, because there is pandemic in the world. So before they do this action, they should be careful really. Otherwise, they can take decisions wrongly and they can be jobless, and that is going to reflect their economy side. So I recommend Cancer to be careful not to change their career. They should size up everything detailedly first before they change their career really. And I recommend them before the noon prayer, about 1 hour before the noon prayer, noon azan, they should recite Ya Halim ve Sabur together with Ya Aziz vel Muiz vel Mukaddim. These names are going to be very powerful at this position really for their career. And they can say also a prayer, oh my Lord, please help me having a higher position, and I want to change my situation. I don't know if I am in the right time. So they must confess this. Confession is important really. So it is going to attract the assistance of the Lord. I must underline this very well. And also, when we look at Leo, they can change their mind about education, especially high education, higher. Any Leo who was graduated from the university, they may want another degrees at the higher positions. They may want a doctorate, and also maybe they want to have another study. Maybe they want to study another university. They're going to give the decision of this these days. But only another point for the Leo, they should be very careful following 3 years, because Saturn is going to be in Aquarius. So any married Leo should be careful about that, because they're going to question their marriage. They're going to question their marriages, their partnership. These kind of things are coming for them. I recommend them not to leave their spouse without thinking and they should be careful about that. And Leo, I recommend them to recite the Ya Halim ve Sabur and Ya Hadi ve Rashid. These names are going to be great, especially for the education, learning another language, and starting higher study. These zikrs are going to be great for this, really. And Virgo. People are very well organized. They have very well organized brain. Then they should be a little bit careful about any problems, some judicial problems, and some internal problems, especially married Virgo people. They should be very careful about their financial side of the marriage, really. So I recommend them to recite Ya Halim ve Sabur together with Ya Samet vel Kerim. Ya Samet vel Kerim, this zikr is going to be very helpful for the financial side, really. Taking the refuge of Allah, the God, of any kind of loss. So this is going to be great. When they should do this, especially they should do this in Asr prayer, afternoon prayer. Reciting Asr chapter from Quran is very important chapter. I recommend you to learn the meaning of Asr. Is also afternoon chapter, but what is the message of this normally? The Asr chapter tells us, oh Muslim, oh you, be careful, because soon the sun will go down and you don't have enough time in life. You are mature and you have mature minds. Until today, maybe you made mistakes unconsciously. You were young, you made mistakes, but from now on, especially after 40 and 50 years of age, you should be careful, because from now on you will do everything consciously, not unconsciously, because we have mature mind, especially after 40 and 50 years of age. And the Asr praying, afternoon praying, tells us this basically, normally. So I must tell this and underline this very much. Especially Virgo, they are keen on protecting their health also. Most of Virgo, especially women, they like cleaning house, they like order, this kind of things, and sometimes they make themselves frightened of unhealthy things, or they exaggerate something about their lives. So they should be careful, and they should take refuge of the gods, and they should try trust in Lord. Trusting is very important, because when we trust, we gain self-confidence and peace in heart also. When we don't trust in the Lord, really, we lose our peace in the heart. Mostly people are looking for wrong thing. Happiness and the peace are two different things. Happiness comes by taking something. For instance, when we learn, we are happy for the air group. When we gain money, when we make money, this is earth group, we are happy. When we are powerful, this is fire group, when we are happy. And when we have good memories and a good root, good good past, then we are happy. But what Satan is always approaching from one side. According to Quran, we learn it from the Quran. He comes from the right side, we learn, and he makes us arrogant. And we earn money, then he makes us much more greedy. And we can't share and we can't give. That is why there is zakah here. Zakah, money must be given to the people, those in need. And air side is like Ali. You know, he learned a lot. Ali is the groom of Prophet Muhammad, but he was modest. He was honest. And Abu Bakr, he was earning money, but he was giving to the poor people, as you remember from the previous programs. I just remind you this. And the Virgo can find peace in the heart by sharing, earning and sharing, such as Taurus and also Capricorn. And what about Libra? Libra are going to be tested about their marriage and the partnership during this period, especially in October and also till November, during the time of Mars retro period. So I recommend the Libra to be careful about their relations with their wife, with also partners. Then that is very important point for them. To keep the peace in the marriage, they should think, this is Mars retro. If their wife is angry or for something without any reason sometimes, because the marriage life for the Libra is very challenging and difficult this period. So I recommend them to recite Ya Halim ve Sabur Jalla Jalaluhu, especially after Asr prayer till the sun goes down. That time, that period is very important point for them really. So they can also recite Ya Vedut vel Jami Jalla Jalaluhu. This is also another zikr helping marriage as well. So I recommend our viewers to, especially Libra ones, to be careful about that. And when we look at Scorpio, Scorpio should be a little bit careful about their health these days, because this full moon event and also their Mars retro are going to be in their health house. So they should be careful about their health, especially, we are in the pandemic time, so they should protect their health very much, and they should use their mask carefully. That is going to be wonderful, really. I recommend them after the sun goes down on Mondays evenings, reciting the God names Ya Halim and Wassabur, and and also Ya Shafi Vel Hafiz, important, another one, because these two zikrs are going to be good meditation for them to keep in good mood as well. And Sagittarius, they lived very hard time in between 2015 and 2017, and economically many Sagittarius suffered a lot in between 2017 and 2019. They are trying to wrap their wounds these days, and so another problem could be over love and their kids. Their kids are going to be a little bit spoiled these days, or may have some problems, and the Sagittarius are going to find themselves solving their kids' problems these days. So they have to be very patient. And they should walk over the problems carefully and logically. And I recommend them, especially evening hour, Monday, evening prayer, if they recite Ya Halim ve Sabur together with Ya Basit Vel Fettah Vel Latif This is also important for their position, and this is going to motivate them to solve the problems over love and also kids. And also that is another zikr which is going to be very helpful is Ya Vedut vel Cami Celle Celaluhu. This is also another one, especially solving the love problems with the spouse. And Capricorn, as I told you, they started suffering since 2017 till today. Since last year, Jupiter entered Capricorn area, and also this was a little bit helpful to ease their wounds. They suffered a lot, and Jupiter tried to ease their wounds really. And but Capricorn should be very careful following 3 years economically, financially, because the Saturn is going to be in their financial house these years. So if they pay attention their income and the expenses, taking some notes and comparing expenses and the income together to keep the balance is very important these years really. Till 2023, Capricorn should be careful about their expenses first. And I recommend them to recite Ya Halim and Sabur, especially before night prayer. Before there is Yazik prayer, that is before you go to bed, you do this prayer, and then you start sleeping. And Capricorn can have some family problems because of this Mars retro, and they have to pay attention. They can find themselves solving the problems of parents. Their parents may have some problems, especially any parent who has horoscopes, Aries, one of them is important. So they should be careful while they're solving their problems, and also reciting these names, Ya Halim ve Sabr, will be very helpful this period. And Aquarius, they were caught by Saturn this year, and many Aquarius, especially were born from 22nd, 23rd of January till 1st of February. This group, first time they have seen some challenges in their life this year, and they said themselves, what's going on? And because many things in their lives started going unright. So some of them didn't understand why, but this was a life test for them. So they are tested by difficulties, and this is going to be 3 years long. Especially they will feel this in 2021 and 2022, and these 2 years, first 2 years, as I told you, this period born Aquarius, they are going to suffer about that. To stop this, they should be very careful. They should think first, then after taking a step is important for them. And what about this retro for Aquarius? Mars in Aries making retro. What is the message for the Aquarius? They have to be careful about their relations, communications. They should be careful about misunderstandings, and because when they start talking, some people around of them can misunderstand and then judge them wrongly. And that is important point. So I recommend Aquarius people to think first, then speak. To think, to plan first, then act. This is important key point, and I recommend them to recite the name of God, Ya Halim ve Sabur, especially before the morning prayer, after the midnight, about 1 or 2 hours later. If they recite these names, that's going to be very good also for their siblings, for their brothers, sisters, and this kind of zikr and prayer will affect also their siblings. So I recommend them to pray for the siblings as well. Any Aquarius who has brothers, sisters, and any Aquarius who are trying to solve their problems. And lastly, Pisces. Pisces is, is an emotional horoscope. I am also Pisces, and I know what is it like, and they are affected very much from any effect around of them. So Pisces, they should be careful about financial things and their incomes. Maybe their income is going to be a little bit slower than before. So I recommend them to take, they should be precautious. They should think twice before buying something, because their income may be a little bit less this period. So I recommend Pisces people not to act emotionally. That is not going to be a good idea about buying some unnecessary things. They should think first, do I need it? Then they should buy it or not. That is going to be important thing for them, especially to have good energy, good reflection from the Lord of the universe and from the universe. Morning prayer is important, especially together with Ya Samet, Ya Halim ve Sabur should be together, Ya Samet, Vel Kerim, Vel Gani, Vel Razak. These names, what I told you now, are very important for having meditation, gaining and sharing. To remember who is the richest, to remember who is the most generous, because Kerim is the most generous, Gani is the richest God, and Samet means the God who doesn't need anything. Everyone needs him. Sorry, saying him is the lack of English, because in Turkish we never say him or her for the Lord of the universe, because God has no gender normally. But we have to, that is why we are saying this, because of English language structure makes us to use this word him. Normally God is not he or she, because he has no gender. But when I as I told you before, I converted to Islam when I was 20, after reading Quran, after reading Old Testament, New Testament, and the Quran. I have chosen Islam just because of thinking the God has no gender. And mostly I could see the God, especially when he's, he's merciful, and Rahman or Rahim. Rahim has got two meanings in Arabic. Rahim is very close to woman, mothers. The God is just like a mother, very merciful. And but when we look at the power, physical power, Al-Qadir, for instance, then we see a little bit like father. But God is not father or mother. We should confess this first. He has no gender. Anyway, lastly, I finished together with Pisces. I wish you a wonderful year in 2020, and I hope everything will be great for you. I hope your skies will be sunny and great, and I wish you happiness and the peace together with your families. Thank you very much for being with us. Please stay with us and please follow our natural TV accounts on social media, giving good messages for you. Thank you.